think a lot smoother than I speak.
That'll be right at the beginning. Or I can throw that at the
Sweet.
end. I don't know. Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Aidan McCool.
How's it going?
Well, this is the first podcast I've ever been on, and
There's a first for everything.
I just feel like I should have a much deeper voice that's just meant for radio.
No. After 128 episodes, I'm very used to the sound of my own voice. Like, you know how people, and I'm sure you once you hear your own voice, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't want more of that. But I actually listen to my own podcast, so I'm very used to my own voice. I know what I sound like, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. So
What was the point where you where you were like, yeah, okay.
Maybe 5 episodes in.
Well, that's pretty.
'Cause that's
early.
like 5 hours.
Yeah,
Like, so
5 hours of your own voice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty well used to the sound of my voice. I know what I sound like. So maybe you'll get used to the sound of your own voice too.
Man, if I do any more of these,
Yeah, exactly.
I've always told myself I wanted to, but
Well, you got to start somewhere.
right.
So who are you?
Well, I'm a musician. Besides that, not a lot else.
What do you play?
Play bass guitar, first and foremost, but
And Aidan is very good at bass guitar.
you know, I keep getting told that, but I also keep telling people that I just hit the strings really hard and hope for the best.
Not my words, but Trevor's words. And I'm sort of paraphrasing, but it was like, man, Aidan is like so good at bass. Like there are just some people that you just hear them playing and you're just like, wow, he's just killing it on bass. Paraphrasing, but that's Trevor. There you go.
We're even a minute in and I'm crying.
But yeah, you're very good at bass. So,
Well, thank you.
how did you start in music?
I think I was about 6. My parents were like, "You're gonna play piano."
Nice.
So I went to a teacher, and I went through many teachers. One of them was like this crazy, sort of like cartoonish, like in a villain way, Russian old lady. Like that was just brutal.
Mm.
And my 2 older siblings, I have an older brother and an older sister, also took from her.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, you know, they wanted out.
Sure.
But we managed to find, I guess, a different teacher. I don't remember it, honestly, all too well, like any interactions, but I do remember.
Right. So how long did you stay on piano?
Well, like, I don't know how many teachers I went through, but by the time I was 8, both my brother and sister had quit. They had stopped, and I was just like, well, what's the point?
Mm.
And the problem was, I think at the time, was I was so young, and all they were doing was
Like scales and stuff.
scales and, like, you know,
Yeah. Nursery rhymes, basically.
essentially just out of the book stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What you'd get in like a piano class, a group piano class, like you do everything right out of the book. And I did have some theory training then, but I managed to forget it all and
Right.
like how to read music and all that in between 2 years before finally my parents were like, again, you've got to play an instrument, because we just never did that ourselves. We quit. Well, my mom did when she was playing. I think she was in band. She played bassoon.
Nice.
So, but
One of the strangest sounding, like, orchestral instruments. But that's beside the point.
it is though. You don't know too many bassoonists today.
I know a bassoonist.
Really?
Yeah.
I know of my mom and no one else. But she quit after high school. Or was it college? I
Most
don't
people
remember.
do quit after high school, so.
I would assume high school, but I think she tried OU for the band. But eventually, she just stopped, and my dad never did any musical instrument.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Well, we really regret that, so you should start playing, and really play, keep it there. Not like we want you to do this for the rest of eternity, but we want
Sure.
you to know how to do it because it's hard to learn in the future."
Yeah.
And so they told me I could do whatever instrument I wanted. And by that point, my brother was taking drum lessons from a place down in Norman called the Norman Music Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And so they taught, all the modern contemporary instruments there.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to that same place for guitar.
Okay.
First couple of lessons were with this guy, and he was great. He was really great. He showed up like 40 minutes late to a 30-minute lesson.
Oh, man.
Like the first few times. He would leave halfway. He would leave with nosebleeds.
What?
Yeah, and he'd go to the bathroom and then he'd come back. He's like, all better. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This weird cartoon character you're describing.
Yeah, something about musicians, I guess. Is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a cartoon character. He wasn't Russian, but he was weird. After that, I went and got another teacher at the same place, one that would show up on time. And he, of course, threw smoke on the water at me.
Okay.
Every
Yeah, you got to start
great
somewhere.
guitarist should learn and have at disposal at any point. But so he taught me, the main riff, and then he went to go get a bass to play with me. And I saw that, and I was like, oh, what's that? That sounds bigger. It's only got 4 strings, so that should be easier, right?
Right.
Right? Maybe? I don't know. It was easier for me to play at that point in time, and it felt right, so I just stuck with it. It wasn't a big aha moment, but it was like, hey, this is cool. I guess it called to me. But I've done that ever since, and I think I've been doing this for like 9 years now.
Yeah.
Maybe 9.
Yeah. So it was the first thing that the first complete thing that you learned on bass.
Oh shit. It was Seven Nation Army.
Cool. Yeah.
It was.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing really, because honestly, looking back, it's a great riff. It's just been played a million times.
Right.
It's a fun little thing there. And I've taught it to so many other kids now. And it feels like you're coming full circle when you do it.
Yeah.
It's so strange. It's like, wait a minute.
So where did you go from there? Did you dive into jazz world? Did you just stay over in contemporary with?
Every teacher I had from that point on, because I went through a couple of bass teachers, was like all very contemporary. And jazz was never really on my radar. One of those teachers essentially gave me my current musical taste, which is just like, I guess, psych rock. But
yeah.
After a while, I quit taking from that place. And I was like, I need a new teacher. And I went to a Guitar Center to try out basses. And by like this absolute stroke of luck, like I met who would end up being like my teacher to this day. Should I say his name?
Hey,
I
say
mean,
whatever you want.
is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Who
have
is
no
it?
idea. Jamar Poteet.
Okay.
I met him at a guitar center. He was trying out basses. I was trying out basses. I was like 14, I think. He saw me pick up a bass and he was like, "Oh, I want to see this." Probably because I look like, if I was 14, I'd still look like I was 10. It's a late bloomer. But from there, he just started like, I want to teach you privately. So, we just started taking lessons together. And that's really where jazz kind of became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't claim to know how to play jazz at all. Honestly, trying to understand it is kind of like inventing the cure for cancer in a way. Like, once you reach that point, though, you can tell it feels so great, but it's like, whoa. It is one of the most overwhelming things.
Mm-hmm.
And but he definitely got me started down that path, and he showed me all these R&B guys and bass players that basically like taught me how to groove as a bass player, and how important that was. Because before that, I just because my teacher before that was like, "Hey, here's how you slap the bass. Here's how you do it at 1,000,000 miles per hour."
Right.
And I'm like, cool. So that's never called for.
Right. No,
ever.
unless you're playing like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like crazy modernist jazz fusion or something. Or
Unless you're
bebop or something.
What's that band? Animals as Leaders? Unless you're those guys. Except for I think they're a freakishly good player in there. They're like sort of or flagship sort of band member is their guitarist, right? But I think he plays like a 8-string guitar and it's kind of low. But yeah, so I didn't really I wanted to be able to play 1,000,000 miles per hour, but I was like, okay, I can't do anything with this though.
Right.
There was never going to be any point for that. But Jamar really taught me how to correctly play as a musician rather than a bassist, I guess is the way to put it.
And that's something that that maybe a lot of people don't know. Regardless of the instrument, people try to just get technically good and don't really see that there's a musical good. And so it happens more with guitarists, but too many notes.
Oh yeah. Well, because what you want to do at first is play the fastest, right?
Fast is good, right?
Right? Exactly. You see people shredding on any instrument, you're like, I got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, I think it just takes sort of maturity, not as a person, but just as a musician on your instrument to really learn that. And that's just always how it kind of goes. And it's good, though, to have a mentor like that from the start that is focused on that.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing Primus for the first time and being like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, right.
This is this guy's playing 1,000,000 miles per hour and he talks funny and I don't know what his music sounds like. It's weird.
Well, that's why in Pro Tools, whenever you export an MP3, you can put a genre. Primus is one of the genres.
Man, I've heard them called everything from trailer funk to polka, to straight up polka,
right,
to just new metal. New metal's probably my favorite because I like to imagine them playing with Korn and laugh a little bit.
Hey, Korn's great.
You and Tyler Sexton love Korn.
You got to give it to their bass player, though.
Yeah. I I don't know. I could smack talk fieldy, but he's making way more money than I am, so he's doing something right.
Right. Well, but I mean, not everyone can like hit a bass like that.
No, not everyone can do that because he sounds like a machine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay. I think it only works in that kind of music, but
Well, true, but
he made its way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he made it like a thing.
Mm.
And that's really interesting.
So what's something about bass that most other musicians or most other people don't really realize is like, I don't know, a trait that people need to keep in mind?
That's another hard question.
That's the point.
I think I think it's a couple things really. You get a lot of guitarists playing bass,
Mm.
and I think they carry that mentality over. And it's all very like, sometimes they're just like need for speed kind of transfers over too.
Sure.
Because the guitar, even at its like, you know, at its barest, I think is still, they still play more than what you would hear on like an average pop song for bass.
Sure.
I mean, it just depends really, I guess.
For lead guitar, at least.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. If it's just chords, and maybe not. But so it could be easy to just overplay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, also you get a lot of like, there's always a backhanded compliment about bass. Is like, oh yeah, you're really great, bass player, man. How long have you been playing guitar? Or that kind of deal.
Sure.
But when you play less on a bass, usually that's like for the best.
Mm.
A lot, because it's at a certain point you just have to learn how to hold back. I guess it's not all about, and it shouldn't always be about like less is more. But another thing is a lot of guitarists, I think, don't focus on groove as much, or just other musicians in general besides the drummer. Like,
Right.
because the bassist and the drummer just have to be practically one person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in order for them to actually be tight,
Yeah.
You have to really like understand each other, I guess, sometimes. But like, if you can't, I found this out, like, if I don't really like, have a good relationship with the drummer too, is what I've noticed. Is that we don't play as well together.
Yeah.
But like, if you talk to that person, you guys get along, then it's kind of great. It's kind of strange how that happens.
Yeah. Well, it's all kind of a relationship anyways.
Right. Yeah, and it's absolutely just like reading each other.
In the same way that drummers have a pocket. Is there a pocket for bass?
Oh, absolutely. It's whatever the drummer isn't doing. Like, so much of like what I've been taught has been just to like have a conversation with the drummer specifically.
Yeah.
And play where he's leaving room for you and leave room for him to play.
Right.
Or him or her. And I like, it's a really kind of fun, difficult thing, but to kind of go in back and forth and really have like this sort of musical conversation with the, just the band in general is super important. But yeah, you can really tell when someone like doesn't have the pocket and when like they're not in it.
Yeah.
And when they are. But it can be really important. It could really like just change whether or not the song feels good or not.
What is the well, how important is knowing music theory whenever you're playing music in general, but also just for your instrument?
For bass,
Yeah.
you know, I would say it's not nearly as important as like just honestly just grooving and staying
Yeah.
in the pocket, right?
Mm,
It's definitely something that I think every musician should know.
right.
I myself am not like wise to everything out there, and I'm definitely not like I wouldn't even say beyond like a fourth grader sometimes in my music theory, but like knowing it really does help, especially with just understanding where songs are going,
Hmm.
because just understanding scales and you know, what's in the key, what's isn't, like that's helpful to anybody. But I think since a lot of bass is so much root notes, you know,
Right, right.
like anybody can just as long as they have an understanding of their fretboard and they know what a major and minor scale are,
Sure.
you can really get away with a lot
Yeah, yeah.
because you know, like I've been with some players that have known so much theory and could easily beat me on that aspect, but they can't groove.
Sure.
And and I mean, like, I don't want to sound rude about it, but it's like I would much rather play with someone that grooves than someone
Yeah,
that
yeah.
knows their theory.
um so who are your like all-time like favorite and heroic bassists?
Oh darn! Oh geez. You know, I mentioned Primus earlier.
Hmm.
Les Claypool's like such a crazy character. He's really fun to watch, but you know, to me, he showed that it's like bass can be what you make of it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always have to be something that actually sits in the back,
Sure.
which is what I do most of the time and what I've just like talked about for the last like 30 minutes.
Right.
But I still love him for that. And
Mm.
honestly, it's kind of what I do in my band,
Mm.
you know. But besides him, you know, people like Pino Palladino, he plays on almost every D'Angelo record, John Mayer
Mm.
stuff. He's a really great example of like staying in the pocket and like just
Yeah, yeah.
knowing how to serve the song.
Mm-hmm.
Him and like James Jamerson too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just classic like Motown stuff. But I also, you know, learned a lot from Victor Wooten too. I wouldn't say for his technique, but like just for the
Mm.
way he looks at music as a whole. He's
Yeah.
really, really like smart guy and he's got a great outlook on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always like loved to listen to him.
What's like a underrated bassist that you think like, oh come on, just like listen to it. It may not be impressive, but like
You know, that's a good question because I feel like the bass player community. It's kind of funny because whenever you search like really good bassists, like any well-known artists, their studio bassists, like they usually all get pretty good recognition. You know, you know, I've never really thought about that because like even people like Paul McCartney still get that sort of like recognition, even though they're not really like necessarily a bass player. Maybe Ringo. I'm sure he's tried before. I have no idea. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Besides that, honestly, like my teacher Jamar is really incredible player, and I really do hope that you know he does get that recognition that he deserves soon. So,
Um. So, what made you, like, I guess, out of high school or whatever, decide to be like, I don't want a real job, quote unquote. I want to do music.
Man, this is gonna sound so like nerdy, but like I kind of knew that I wanted to do music for the rest of my life, like back in 2012, after I went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
Nice.
Cause not because I still love their music, because
There's no shame in
there's
Red
no
Hot
shame in
Chili
it, because
Peppers.
Flea is
Just
definitely one of my
killing it.
really earliest influences, for sure. I just feel so snobby now looking back at them. Like, I can't listen to them anymore. Maybe because I listened to them too much, because I've outgrown them. I don't know. But at that concert, that was like the first music event, like concert, that I had ever been to that I wanted to go to. And I knew the band and I wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, holy shit. Not just because like they were great, because they're really great, you know, as musicians, but just the way they, you know, had an effect on the crowd.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I felt amazing just sitting in that room,
Yeah.
in that massive like arena. And I was like, wow, I want to make people do that. I don't want to do anything else. If like music can do this, then yeah.
Yeah.
This is what's important. I didn't think I would I didn't know how I was going to go about it. But like I knew from that point that music was going to be what I did, and I probably wouldn't pursue any other job.
Yeah.
Mostly because like I've never really had an interest in anything else, and I've never really felt good at anything else.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could finish a business degree, you know, even if I tried, mostly because it's just like, I know I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think I would just probably intentionally hold myself back and just waste money, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
And that's awful, because that stuff ain't cheap.
Yeah. Don't waste money on stuff that you don't want to be doing.
I mean, it is a risk. I mean, in a way, and it could be a harder life, but I'd much rather it be something I love than sitting at a desk for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I think 2 more questions in the realm of music. One, what's Sun Phaser?
Oh, darn. So, Sun Phaser is essentially, I guess, just my project in a way, because I'm the only original member of the band left, I think. But, and I think I'm changing the name soon.
Okay.
Back to what I originally had it as, which is funny.
Well, what's it gonna be? So
What's
that
it
we
gonna
can
be?
Know what to look for.
So
For posterity, someone 30 years from now going back, listening to this podcast for whatever reason, needs to know what to look for.
I wonder if they're going to have podcasts. I wonder if they're going to be like hologram casts.
Nah, I'll just like beam it directly into your head.
Oh, okay. You don't even have to listen to it. They just like
you just get all the information.
everything, the conversation. But so back when I was young, me and my brother used to listen to this awful butt rock band called Eve 6. And I found out that they named their band after an episode of X-Files. And I was like, I love the X-Files. So I pulled out the Wikipedia page just full of their episode names, and I found, I think it's technically pronounced Syzygy, but I was like, Syzygy. That sounds cool. Let me try to spell it out. Syzygy, I think.
Oh, okay.
Syzygy.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That looks cool.
It looks cool. And it's kind of what I wanted from the start. Originally, though, it's like, well, no one knows how to pronounce it, and so we really should change it. So
Fair
we
enough.
changed it, but as I've as I've gotten older, I've stopped caring.
Sure. Yeah.
But so yeah, now I guess we're gonna go under Suzuki, but we used to be Sun Phaser.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before that, we used to be Suzuki. So there you have it.
Yeah.
But that is my project. So from the start, I just kind of wanted to be like a psych rock band because that was what one of my longtime teachers, Tim Gregory, that was his shtick, I guess. You know, he's got a local band called Helen Kelter Skelter,
Yeah.
and they're pretty much like him and his band kind of just shaped my musical taste in general. He's kind of responsible for that side of me. R&B side is like Jamar, but so in between those two, I just formed this, and I couldn't find a guitarist for the life of me. It was bad because we had one, and then he convinced us to help him move, and then we helped him move, and then he just disappeared.
Whoa.
Yeah, he just stopped showing up to practice and responding. That's what you get when you have a truck. That's what you get. But so after that, I was like, well, crap, we can't get a guitarist, and I wasn't going to ACM yet, so I didn't really have like a portfolio of guitarists to flip through and be like, okay, this will do. So I found this band called Royal Blood, and what they did was they were just a drummer and a bassist, and their bassist essentially threw a bunch of pedals through a signal of his bass that was an octave up into a guitar amp and put some distortion on it. And everything he did on bass was repeated in what sounded like a guitar form. So that's what we've been doing pretty much ever since. And so right now, I would call our music like alternative, I guess. I don't know.
A good catch-all for just something rock sounding, maybe.
Something rock sounding. I shot like for every kind of band that I was listening to at the time, and that was kind of a mix of itself. But I wanted to sound like the Black Angels or something like that. Or honestly, at the time, my teacher's band, I was just like, those guys are great, and you look up to them, so you want to sound like that. But, I feel like as I keep going, I'm progressing, and I feel like, I got my own sound out of it. So, yeah. And right now, we just got a new singer.
Yeah.
And I guess we got a new drummer a while back. Because my brother used to be the drummer for it.
Okay.
So, but he got married.
Yeah.
So that took it all. I'm not bitter. But
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
No, I've seen you guys play, and it's really cool stuff. Really catchy. Do you write everything, or is it like a mixture of whoever's there?
Currently, I write everything.
Okay.
Well, sort of. I write all the melodic string stuff. I didn't do the lyrics or the melody or the drums. I just kind of did everything I was in control of, I guess.
Right.
Which is, I guess, a big portion of it because
it's the harmony.
Yeah. Essentially, there's no other harmonic instrument in there.
And basically rhythm as well.
Yeah, basically. And so it was stressful for a while because it's a huge box to be in because you can't really play chords, but you kind of have to. So you kind of have to find a way to play bass at the same time, then play a chord shape, and then not make it sound like mud.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, in a way, kind of facilitated, my own sort of unique sound.
I mean, if you've ever had lessons with Joe.
Yeah.
He'll show you how to play chords on bass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he did.
Yeah.
He very much did. And
Madman.
doing so is great, but when you have enough distortion on it, it just kind of goes through.
Right.
That's also the other challenge, is just like making a convincing wall of sound
Yeah.
with essentially two instrumentalists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of scary, but it's also like,
It's really cool.
yeah,
It's really cool to watch because there's just a wall of sound coming from just two people. And it's like, wait, how is he doing that? Oh, look, there's an amp over there, there's an amp over there. It's like, this is awesome.
thousands of pedals
Yes.
worth
And
more
also
than a
thousands of
space
dollars.
shuttle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't even want to get into talks about that. Like, I did the math one day and I cried. Just to,
I
just
could
to
have bought a
think-
car, but pedals.
Yeah, and just to think, I stomp on these. That's literally what they're for, is being stomped on.
Yes.
It's not a good feeling when you got like thousands of dollars.
But yeah, you should really check out Sun Phaser, or now Suzuki. And I'll let you plug all the things at the end. And then last one in this realm, what advice do you have for young musicians trying to get into the world of music?
Honestly, just surround yourself with musicians that are like 80 years old and that have seen it all and that, could outplay you thousands of times over, because that's the fastest and really just most efficient way to get,
To learn.
to learn just how to be a musician. And that's what I ended up doing myself, is I played with a lot of older musicians, like a lot of people that were just had played for so much longer than me, for longer than I had been alive in some instances.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and it was crazy, and it was humbling, and it was one of the biggest learning experiences of my life. And
Yeah.
if you get the chance to do that, absolutely, like, do that
Yeah.
as much as you can.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit, getting a little bit deeper. What is the role of spirituality or religion in your life?
Well, I was baptized Catholic,
Hey, me too.
but when I was about 4, my parents stopped going to church. From there, I just kind of did my own thing, and no one ever really talked about it with me.
Right.
It was always just like, you can do what you want to do. You wake up tomorrow, you have different religion, that's cool. But I've always kind of viewed myself as an atheist in a way, but at the same time, I feel like spiritual in a way. I mean, especially with music, because there's so much of an energy behind something like that.
Yeah.
And I felt, stuff like that around music, that it can't be like, oh yeah, no, there's nothing out there. So who knows? I guess agnostic. I have no idea. Would be what I would call myself. But
Yeah.
I would say it plays a pretty big role in music in general with anybody, just because it almost seems sometimes like a form of spirituality.
Yeah.
Not in like a religion sort of way, but just in just like understanding, the energy surrounding music
Yeah.
can be really important.
So I'll go through the quicker questions, or the solid questions, and I'll move through everything else. Now changing the question, what is your definition of God?
Depends on the time of day, really. Sometimes I would tell you, well, there is none. Sometimes I'd say, well, if there is one, he's a real asshole. There are other times where it's like, okay, maybe some out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really felt like I needed to know or needed to understand it, I guess. Just because, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's, predetermined. It's like, I'll just enjoy what I've got going right now and make the most of that.
And then the other one is free will? Question mark.
Yeah, I think so. Next.
Yeah. So a lot of people would, so we live in Oklahoma, so would argue that without religion or without God, there's no sense of morality. Where does your morality come from? What makes you decide what is good?
It's kind of, an interesting question sometimes because, like I had that idea of a hell and a heaven and all that. But that's not really what, like, for me dictates whether or not I go out and rob a store at gunpoint. I think that's just common sort of human decency, really, at the end of the day. I mean, I've always just subscribed to the notion that as long as you do everything, like, as long as you live your life out of love rather than, hate or, something like that, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, that's not something that you need a book or a religion to really decide for you. You should it just comes naturally, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the way to put it. I don't know. It's not something I guess I put a lot of thought into. And I probably
And
sound
that's
like
okay.
a bumbling idiot.
No.
But I've always done my best to care for as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Just because I feel that, like, what's the point of being human if you can't love anybody,
Exactly. So in the current political climate, there's a lot of division, and a lot of that does come down to like morality and such. So like, how do we reduce this division that's happening?
Well, it's funny because I was actually sort of having a conversation, about this earlier today with my girlfriend, but just having an open mind and respecting the fact that everybody's human.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a family and everybody's a person, and that we should take into account what they're going through and just respect, really. If you can swallow your pride and listen to what someone else's, opinion, if you can do that and honestly, like, ponder it, not just go, okay, we listen, and then continue on being an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I feel like some actual change could be made.
Yeah.
I know I'm guilty myself of being like, oh, said in one way, but we have to be as open as we can be. And truly, like, respect each other in order for it to really heal, I think. And I think with the way things are right now, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It can be really scary because it feels like, it feels like a threat. Just even think to yourself is like, what if I open my mouth and what if I say how I feel? You could feel, it feels threatening to yourself. Like, it could be really scary. And I think it's pretty messed up.
Yeah. But Aiden, your opinion is wrong.
Exactly.
What can we do about the people who will not be talked to?
I'm encouraging timeout. Like,
Interesting.
just a little timeout section. Like, we could take this wall they're talking about. We can build those baby gates.
Yeah.
I know I have a bunch of them around my house because we have dogs. You can get those baby gates, make them, 8 feet tall. Just throw whoever's mad at each other in there for a little bit. But honestly, and I really wish I could come up with a better answer than just I have no idea, because
It's okay. It's okay to say you have no idea too.
Oh yeah. And I wish that wasn't the case, because it's hard knowing that you have this many people in power that are just so easily some obviously corrupted in some instances, and it can feel pretty hopeless at times, and that's awful. And I wish that there was a better answer right now that I could give.
But we're not we're not people in power, so
Thank God.
yeah.
I would destroy this country. Thoroughly and utterly. I've been told before that I should be a politician. I'm just I have no idea where to start.
What makes you happy?
Couple things. My dogs, my music, my cat. Probably most of all, my girlfriend. I feel like there isn't a whole lot that in life that truly makes you really happy. But those are the things that really okay, yeah, there's a point
Yeah.
to everything. Okay, I get why the world goes around.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I guess makes my world kind of continue.
Yeah. What's something about you outside of music that people don't really know that you're into?
Well, I'm a fucking great baker.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
I'll make some cookies, man. You think I put crack cocaine in there? You have no idea. Other than that, I watch way too many movies, and I have extremely harsh opinions about the new Star Wars. But I can't swim.
Oh. That's okay, I guess.
Still learning that one.
Yeah. Well, one I do know is you play some video games.
I do play some video games. And have you seen the new Death Stranding trailer?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh.
Is it any good? Do you understand what's going on here?
You're not supposed to understand what's going on.
Is it coming out in my lifetime?
I would guess 2021.
Jeez.
Maybe 2020.
Oh. Kanye's going to be running for president by then. I'm not going to have time to play a video game.
Don't do that.
Don't bring that up. Damn, that's not close enough, but also near, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're at that nice midway.
Yeah.
But I know E3 just came around, and I kind of missed it. but I kind of didn't.
Mm.
I know Smash Brothers is coming out, and I missed the last one.
You didn't need it. It was a weird in-between phase.
It was kind of like, oh yeah, we've got the Wii U. We don't have anything that will sell it, so let's make a Smash Brothers. Was that kind of
Pretty much. But it was also on DS, so they had to like make it like compatible.
Oh
to,
yeah.
like, be able to play in between both. So
And now we got this one coming out. Is it coming out on the DS as well?
I don't think so. It'll probably just be on Switch.
Yeah, I feel like
It's a portable console.
Yeah, I feel like that's over. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Nintendo will make another portable console after the Switch? Like besides a console that you can put on your TV still?
That could be the way that like that all of Nintendo could go. But honestly, I have no way of knowing what they would do. Cause like
They're so unpredictable.
right, yeah. So the last conventional console that they made was a GameCube, I guess.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. They're always like, I think it's funny and respectable, I guess, that they always make just the decision that you least expect.
mm.
In every instance, almost. It's like, that, okay. Sometimes it's annoying.
So I
And
mean
a lot of the time it can be.
so I mean post GameCube you have the Wii, which is we're not even trying to do like a normal console that plays normal games. We got motion controls and it's its own gimmick. And then the Wii U,
And that was just,
and that was something.
oh man. I remember
but it wasn't something.
I remember buying it. I remember playing the launch title that was like zombies.
Zombie U?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember almost finishing it and then saying, you know what? I'm going to go see about getting some of my money back.
Yeah.
Because by that point, it was August and it had come out in the winter of the year before.
No, jeez.
And I still didn't have a game I wanted to play on it. And then I was like, okay, I'm done here.
You could have waited a little while and gotten Breath of the Wild.
I could have, but instead I played it on the Switch, and I feel happier about that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay, I got every bad taste out of my mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Except for the Switch cartridges.
Yes.
They taste awful. You tried it?
No.
See, because...
They tell you not to.
Well, that's exactly why you try it. So... Because when you're a musician, you make bad decisions.
Right, yeah. We're musicians.
Right.
We already made a bad decision.
Right. Well, I just read somewhere on the internet that it's like, man, they actually really do taste bad. They really do, And I'm...
Can you describe the taste?
Bitter, metallic, kind of like you're taking in a few chemicals that you probably shouldn't
Sure.
each time you lick it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of that's
you seem
just
to
there.
have been implying that you licked it repeatedly.
I've done this twice. I've done this twice. The first time to be like, okay. And then I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then the second time I was like,
Was it really that bad?
what is this? Because I was curious, and I think they put it there just so kids won't eat it.
Right.
I think that is specifically why it tastes bad.
Yeah. No, that is why. But also telling people
That I did that?
telling people that it tastes bad and that you shouldn't do it is like telling people to
Oh, yeah.
go for it.
Well, it's like I'm still young. I can still make stupid decisions, and this isn't selling my left kidney.
Yeah.
So there you go, Mom and Dad.
2 more questions. What advice do you have for people?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Don't drive on the left side of the road. It's illegal.
Cool.
Or I guess it's the wrong side of the road, just
Yeah.
depending on what direction you're going
Right. And what country you're in.
and what country you're in. It's very illegal. It's very dangerous. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Only you can prevent forest fires. All of that. But honestly, just stay in the moment. Like don't not look ahead, but
Yeah.
enjoy what you have right now.
I like that. And then now what's become my last question, since you are a bit of a baker apparently. Cake or pie?
You can't just put that kind of question on someone, man. It just kind of depends on what day of the week it is. I mean, I'll just give you this. Cookies.
Are cookies cake?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not cake. They're not pie.
All right. Yeah, okay.
They're neither, so I don't have to choose.
Corollary to the cake or pie question. Is cheesecake cake?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of my favorite cakes. I'll fight anybody that says it's not. I guess you don't, just depending on the way you make some, desserts, you don't bake them.
Mm-hmm.
But no-bake cookies are technically cookies.
Yeah.
But you don't bake them.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they?
Yeah. But what makes cheesecake cake?
I would say it's crust.
But that's like, it's a pie crust.
Yeah. It's like a pie crust.
Cheesecake pie?
Ooh. You got me there.
Yeah.
You've got me there. Okay, I'm going to have to think about that. Is water wet?
No.
Okay.
Water is not wet. We can get into that later.
No. I'm with you on that one. Water is not wet.
Yes. Also, I'm sorry. I opened the rabbit holes, but is bread cake?
No. No. Does cake have to have frosting on it to be cake? Because you get pound cake.
Right. Yeah. So, I guess not necessarily.
Maybe it's only cake if you call it cake.
Right.
Maybe it's just what you make of it.
Yeah. Cake is just what you cake of it. That kind of hurt me a little, but yeah. It was a pun. It was there. I grabbed it.
You took it. You rolled with it.
Rolls are not cake. So
rolls are not cake.
Anyways, Aidan, thank you for doing this with me. This is fun.
Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Where can we find you and your things?
Well, you can find just me personally on Instagram, Facebook. I think I have a Twitter, Aidan McCool, but my band Sun Phaser is on Instagram, Facebook.
On SoundCloud.
Yeah, we are on SoundCloud, and I hope one day once I get a recording I'm proud of to put something on Spotify.
Yeah.
Eventually, so keep an eye out for that. Probably within this year.
Cool. Yeah.
Probably.
If you need help producing it.
I will. You're hired.
Cool. You heard it here first.
Will you take it in payment of cookies?
Can I resell those cookies for money?
No, you're going to want to eat them, trust me. If you resell them, that's a felony.
I need money.
Me too, man. Me too.
Once again, thank you for doing this with me. I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Aidan McCool.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music, which you can download my demo, Songs with Words, for free, or you can pay some money. That's on my Bandcamp, but you can get that link through my website. Or you can listen to this podcast. You can leave reviews or leave comments. And You can find it on Apple Podcasts, which is that purple podcast app that's on your phone that no one ever actually looks at if they don't already actively listen to podcasts. But there's also Stitcher. It's also on YouTube. And you can also just listen to it straight from my website, santiagoramones.com. I always end my podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong,